Now it should be working. Audio should be better. As I literally walked in from being outside to jump into the stream ASAP, and yeah, so audio's good. All right, good. I'm going to see if I can bring our guest in. Tonight, we're going to talk to Tommy Calloway. If you don't know him, his channel will be linked in the description in a little bit, as soon as I can get to it. He's a really cool dude. And we're going to talk about, he got a red Komodo, which I was flying a red Komodo on my big FPV drone for pretty much like all of last week. And so he got one, and so we're going to discuss it a little bit as far as like what about the red Komodo is amazing and what is, incredible about it. And definitely what is not as incredible about it. and stuff like that. So hopefully everything will work to bring him in. I don't know. We'll see. I know I can see him on that one, and then I can't see. Why can I not see you on that one? All right, let me see if I can make this work here, because OBS is always interesting. That should be right there, but still not working. There we go. Okay. All right. So everybody, this is Tommy Calloway. Oh, hopefully, and the call just dropped. Of course it did. All right, never mind. We'll go back to me. I don't know why the call dropped there, but it did.
My fault. I totally accidentally quit Skype.
Oh, Tommy quit Skype. Perfect. Thanks for that. This is gonna be a super pro stream because like we didn't have time to test any of this or anything like that beforehand. So it's very much just kind of off the cuff. Hopefully everything should work because everything has been set up, but that doesn't mean it will work because of stuff. Anyway, this is Tommy Calloway. He runs a great YouTube channel. It has been focused on lighting in the past. So if you ever have questions about lighting, then you should talk to him and go watch a ton of his videos. But he does a lot more than just lighting. So hopefully he can hear you. Can you say something, Tommy?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the very kind intro. Can you guys hear me okay?
I think you're there. Maybe a little quiet. Maybe not.
I can turn me up if we need to.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, good.
Yep. Okay, cool. They can hear you. Wow, it worked.
All right.
That's amazing. So to Tommy, I know you only have a few minutes. I spent 10 days flying the red Komodo around on my big FPV drone, which is upstairs. And it was, while it was very cool, also a little bit terrifying because it wasn't my camera. But it is really an impressive little tiny cube camera, except for one aspect for me, which was file size. Like I would do a 3-minute flight at 6K on my drone and come back with like 75 to 90 gigabytes of video, which I was like, dear Lord.
So people are talking about the red Komodo like it's this awesome cinema camera, but I think it is the best live streaming camera available. I mean, look at that resolution.
Are you streaming in 6K right now?
Yeah, I am. Well, I mean, it's down to 1080p, but
right.
I did this when I first got it, and then I put up the picture-in-picture, and then did it like this, so I could show the camera while I, walk around with it and stream with it. And I thought that was kind of an interesting use for a ridiculously expensive camera system. Probably not the most efficient use of funds, however. Anyways, my first experience with it was filming this review I did of this light over the weekend, and I filmed in synchronous with the A7S3, and the 12 gigabyte file that came out of the A7S3 for a 14.5 minute A-roll, and sorry for the dogs barking, was a 100 gigabyte file on the red. And that was, I mean, I expected it, but I wasn't happy about it. But the real interesting thing was the footage was, it was about the same level of difficulty to grade. Like the A7S3, it performed really well, and it wasn't any more difficult to grade than the red footage, even though I've never dealt with red footage before, and it's probably me needing to learn more about the files and the range. And it just seemed like the A7S III was performing really, really well, and I didn't see any significant difference in the footage yet beyond the file size.
Yeah, that's kind of been my experience too. Is like more and more it's made me realize how great a camera the A7S III is for like a small form factor, super portable, easy to. I mean, I know people complained in the beginning with the files, the 10-bit files. It's hard for computers to process them and stuff, but it's really a great camera for the money and for what you get out of it in the form factor. It's incredible, in my opinion. I'm a big fan anyway.
I'm really surprised by it. I mean, the A7S III, that is. Now there's a lot of really cool things that I have coming up for the Komodo, and I'm excited to talk about it. SDI is really cool, but then you have to get all the accessories to work with SDI, and then just storage. Really, storage is the big thing. Global shutter is interesting, but I filmed a helicopter the other day with A7S III, and I mean the rolling shutter on the A7S III is like damn near close to global shutter, like the speed. Like the blades were perfectly straight on the helicopter.
Right.
It was a little far away, but still really impressive.
Yeah, that was the one thing that did strike me about the Komodo is, I've got on my FPV drone going 90 miles an hour, flying around stuff, really, really close to stuff. And the global shutter made a huge difference on that. And the guy whose camera it was and I were talking about it. We're like, yeah, it's really the ideal camera for stuff like that because you get no rolling shutter at all. You can make insanely fast maneuvers and everything stays exactly the way it's supposed to. And at the same time, I was like, I really want to put a $6,000 camera, a $2,000 lens, and then the CF card and everything else on my drone every day and risk running into stuff. It was worth it for him. I don't know if it'd be worth it for me.
Yeah, if you're doing really fast motion stuff, then obviously there's an advantage. And the one really big difference that I could tell when working with the footage on the Komodo versus the Sony was that the noise looks more organic on the Komodo, less clinical than on the Sony. But I do tech reviews in like a bedroom studio, it's like how organic do I need the noise to look? Part of me is like, this is beyond ridiculous for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I still want to do the interesting comparisons of high-speed rolling shutter test with like a robot that I made that spins things really fast and at a precise interval, just to see it. And then a few of the things that I have in here that I want to review and compare.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's so far it's more work to use the Komodo than it is to just turn on the Sony.
Right.
And that's what I wanted the Komodo for, was to make it less work.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So have you tried shooting in some of the other codecs and stuff that are available on the Komodo?
No, I've only done the highest compression available for 6K.
Okay.
So my next one, I'm going to do 4K and maintain the highest compression, because the compression, I just want there to be more compression because the file size right now is my limitation. I don't know how big the 4K file sizes are going to be, but I'm going to try that next time.
Okay. Yeah, that would be. I'm really curious to see your rolling shutter tests, especially between the A7S III and the Komodo. The A7S III rolling shutter is really good, but especially in high speed stuff, I'm really curious to see what the difference ends up being for with your testing, because that's it. I think the only other thing that I really noticed, so I was like, okay, I could see the Komodo, was the dynamic range of the Komodo is massive. It's, I don't know, 3 stops more than or what is it? I know it's like 16, 15 stops.
They claim 16, but I think the last 2 stops are like zero saturation or something.
Oh, okay. It's a ton of dynamic range. I noticed on one thing which I can't show because it's all under NDA, but one shot I was doing, I was like, yeah, that's a lot of dynamic range in the shot that it's hard to get with any other camera.
I'm still waiting for a couple other pieces too. The Indy monitor, the Small HD Indy 7, that's not out yet, but it's been on pre-order for a month. And then a couple cables to make it look like less of a rat's nest, because it's pretty ridiculous now. But when that setup is finished, then I want to actually do some stuff. I want to make a commercial for my wife's business.
Okay.
On the Red, and then make the same commercial or a very similar one using just the Sony, and then kind of go through the experience of like, is it worth it to keep this camera, or should I hawk it and get another A7S III or maybe the FX6? I don't know. Because I thought that I would never sell it.
Right.
And now after working with it, it's like, maybe it's not worth it. I don't know. For me.
Well, and that's the thing too. I think use case is a huge deal. People consider. I was laughing when all these YouTubers were buying like red heliums and Monstros and stuff like that. I'm like, why? I mean, it's the most ridiculous amount of camera to film YouTube videos with that you could ever imagine. It's like me getting a helicopter to do drone shots or something. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the autofocus works really well with the Sigma 18-35.
Does it?
And of course it does. I have the non-autofocus version attached right now.
Right.
Which, would work really well with, gears and stuff like that. But I don't know, we'll see. Still got some more things to test with it and play. Because if it can get to a point where it feels like it's less work to use than the Sony for, just for like getting the colors the right way, then yes. Otherwise, I'm dubious.
Yeah, I think I'm curious. I'm curious to see that too, because I didn't get a chance to test the autofocus. Everything we were shooting was all manual cine lens, and so it was like whatever. But I was curious to see how the autofocus works. Because the A7S III, that I was thinking about today, if I make a video about the A7S III as like being the ultimate kind of solo creator camera, one of the big reasons is the autofocus is so insanely good. It's ridiculous. And I've had it grab my face and my eye at basically almost in pitch dark. It's like, I don't know.
The last thing that I'm interested in exploring is the market for stock footage using the Komodo 6K with a probe lens, because not a lot of people have either of them. And so there might be a niche market for stock footage.
Yeah. Did you buy a probe lens, or do you just...
Yeah, I did.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. I want a probe lens really bad. I don't have enough reason to have one yet, but I'm like, I just really want one. They're really cool.
And I do.
Well, yeah, it's good. Okay, touche. Fair point. Anyway, I just If you decide to hawk your Komodo, I don't know if I'll be able to, but give me first option. Give me first rights of refusal.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, it's already worth more than I paid for it.
This is true.
But anyways, I got to go help with dinner. Thanks for having me on. I'm sorry for jetting so early.
No, that's cool. I knew you only had a few minutes, but I appreciate you coming on and giving me your thoughts about the Komodo and stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of your videos about it down the road, especially comparing to the A7S III. Well,
all right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Tommy. Thanks. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
So I'll have his channel linked in the description here after, as soon as I can get around to actually linking it in the description. But so thanks for entertaining that. I've had a few people ask about the A7S III and the Red Komodo, and kind of like, I mean, they're very different price points, very different cameras, but it's interesting to me because when I went and used the Red Komodo, it struck me that like the usability, it's not that it's hard to use, but it is different because it's a cinema camera. But the file size, I was like, holy crap, man! Your file sizes get so big so fast. You could do a lot with them in post, But for stuff like this and for like my everyday client shoots, the A7S3 is fantastic. Yeah, so it's all about what you need and you know what you what your use case scenario is. So thanks for that, Tommy. And so this is a Solo Creator Q&A. If you have questions about drones, about cameras, about lenses, ask them in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them as we go through this chat. It feels good to be back. Like, it feels good to be back home. It feels good to be kind of back in the routine of life. Although I barely made it home in time for this. I was down shooting with the Shark Slider Nano from iFootage. I still haven't put a lens back on this. And like, because it's awesome and the weather wasn't terrible. So, and it also wasn't way below zero. So I went out to shoot a bunch with it, and it was a lot of fun, but I barely made it back. Permafrost, Nick, I'm not getting a helicopter. Not yet. I wouldn't mind one. There's some places I really want to go that basically I'd have to have a helicopter for. But yeah, I'm not getting a helicopter anytime soon. So I know Fly Zone, you asked how it went in Chicago. It went very well. It was a very busy trip. I wished I'd had more time to do a little more, because I mean, I would have loved to have met up and stuff, and apparently you guys got a bunch of snow the day I left. But it was good. It went really well. I think sometime in March is when I'll be able to show you some of the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. So that, you know, should work out well. And it was fun. It was exciting. I got to fly the Red Komodo on my drone. Outside, I was going like fast. I also flew it inside around a lot of obstacles, and I was going fast for that too, which was also a little bit terrifying, but it was really fun. So can't wait to see what they do with the footage. You know, of course, share it out on all the social media channels. So if I've missed your question and you've been asking in the chat, please ask again. I'm sorry. Tommy only had a few minutes. I really wanted to get his thoughts on the Red Komodo versus the A7S3. And yeah, it just always goes down to show like which camera or, you know, whatever it might be. You don't need the absolute highest, best, whatever. There's one that will work best for you and will work with your budget, which is always the thing I kind of go back to, is like, not everybody has $8,000 to throw in a camera that they're going to use to shoot YouTube videos with. I don't have $8,000 to throw in a camera I'm going to shoot YouTube videos with. If that's all I'm going to do with it, it's got to earn its money. You know, it's got to earn its keep some other way. So, let's see. Paul asks, he said, I know you do photography with the A7S3. Do you still feel like it can do everything you need? Paul, I do. And to the point of, I'm considering selling my A7 III. In fact, I probably am going to sell my A7 III. For the times that I do need a second camera, I can go rent one. And the A7S III is just such a great camera. I think, you know, if I share this in like when I compare the A7 III and the A7C, I think if you're doing primary video work, then the A7C is probably the better camera for people to have, because it's got a great autofocus system, flip out screen, stuff like that. If you can't afford the A7S III, then it's a really good camera. A little bit better colors and stuff like that. So that's where, yeah, the A7 III is fantastic. I did a bunch of stuff with it today, and it looks great. The images are great on it. I feel like I'm overexposed. Am I overexposed? There, maybe that's better. Also, I feel like my OBS is messing everything up. Why is it messing everything up? Let me see if I can do this. And then let me see if I can do this. That's better. Why? Anyway. So. Oh, okay. All right. I guess I'll go back to this then. Apparently, that's the only way it can work. I don't understand, but whatever. So, hopefully, everybody's doing well. And I don't understand. The thing was, I did my settings video with the A7S III, and I think it messed up my output settings, and I think, obviously, I didn't get them back to be quite the same way they were before, but now you should be getting a relatively full view of me. Mark H asks if I've done any astrophotography lately. I haven't, Mark. There was a huge aurora storm while I was gone, of course. I am thinking about going out tomorrow night, so Brian Peterson, if you're in the chat still and you want to go out to someplace cold in the night tomorrow, hit me up. Might go out tomorrow. Hatcher's Pass, probably. I like to shoot some more stuff with the slider. And yeah, so I haven't done anything lately, Mark H. Thanks for asking. It's been great. Let's see. Alaska Snow Days. You started trying to upload YouTube videos every time the video on YouTube is blurry compared to the video you have on your phone. Any ideas? Make sure it processes Alaska Snow Days. The first thing you will see is a really blurry rendition of it. Sometimes you have to give it a little while before you can see the way it looks. Yeah. Brian Anderson, do I use any Insta360 cameras? I do. I really like the Insta360 One X2. That is Insta360 One X2. That is by far the best and my favorite consumer Insta360 camera I've used. It's really, really great. They did a great job on that one. I did a whole video about it somewhere on my channel. It's really great. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for telling people to hit the like button. Let's see. Aled, if you're a hybrid shooter moving from DSLR to mirrorless, would I invest in one good camera or two separate cameras that are best for each format? I would invest in one camera that's best for both. And really, right now, if you don't need to blow your images way up, I mean, you can blow an A7S III image up to about 30-something inches on the long side. So I would go with the A7S III. It is fantastic. Great colors. I just did a whole setup video about it. Hint, hint. And the photos off of it are fantastic too. Fantastic, Abby. Glad you're getting one. Fly Zone drone. Yeah, I think next time, because it sounds like there will be a next time, I'm going to try and come down for an extra day or two and do a meetup or something, because you're not the only person in Chicago that I know down there that would like to meet up. I know a few other people down there that it'd be fun to meet up and do something fun. So hopefully maybe an extra day or two so we could hang out. Let's see, what are my thoughts on the Sony 20G and the Sony 24GM? So I'm filming this on the 24GM right now, and it is a fantastic lens. The 20G is a good lens too. It has just a little bit, it's a great lens. The only thing is for astrophotography stuff, it does a little bit worse on the corners. And I mean, it's like splitting hairs, but it's a really great lens. So if you need the extra width, then go with the 20. And you don't want to spend the extra money, then go with the 20. It's a great one. Alan, best wishes from Wales. Oh, thanks. Wales. I'm going to go there someday. I've been in the area, but never actually to Wales. Permafrost, somebody. Do you fly helicopters? Do you have your rotary endorsement? I know a few people down here that fly them too, so I'm hoping we're going to, one or two of them want to do some stuff together. We were going to do some stuff together last summer. It just didn't work out, so hopefully this summer we'll be able to. Matthew Henry, have I seen the new Benro Polaris Smart Electronic Tripod Head? I have not, Matthew, but I will look at it as soon as the stream is over. Mark H, my thoughts on the Sony A1. Mark, thank you for bringing that up. The Sony A1, if you don't know, it's a just beast of a camera. 50 megapixels, 8K, 30p recording, does 100 and something raw images before it even has to write to an SD card. Yeah, insanely powerful camera. I don't know many people that would need it, but if you need an all-in-one just beast of a camera that will basically do everything, maybe not so good at astrophotography, but from what I've seen, it's not bad. Then the A1 that thing is just incredible. Be warned, the file sizes are going to be gigantic. So that's true, Permafrost Beards. Most people watch stuff on their phones. I only do it in 4K because I know at some point everything will kind of transition toward 4K. But I also feel like 4K does give me the opportunity to really show off the locations and the places that I'm in better than 1080. and it's future proofing, which is the thing that influencers say or something like that. Paul, get either the A7S3 A7C. If you get the A7C, wait for the A7 IV. Probably also get a ZV-1 for pocket use everywhere. Overhead cam choices. Yeah, that's not a bad option, Paul. I still would get the A7S3 if I were you. I mean, I'm not you, but that's like, I love the A7S3. It's a fantastic camera. It's so good. Agent J, thank you. Let's see. Alexander asked, do I like the A7S3 fully articulated screen, or do I prefer a tilt screen from every other Sony camera? Don't I find it annoying on the gimbal? I do not. Actually, I find it really great on the gimbal because it moves over to the side, so you're not interfering with the gimbal arm. I really like it. Let's see. Oops. I'm going to check my own stream on a different device because I don't know what it's doing. I feel like everything is messed up. This is what happens when you travel for a while and then come back and just try and jump straight in without checking anything. All right, I'm skipping down to the bottom of the chat. So if I missed a question, please ask it again. I will answer it. I'm sorry, I just haven't. Oh, all right. Let me switch this back to the way it should be. I can guarantee you one thing: this stream will not be staying like public on my channel. It's weird because in my preview window, it looks all like full screen when I do this. I don't know why. I don't understand. Anyway, there we go. All right, better, good. I don't know. You guys might have been telling me that. I just didn't see it until now. So, all right, John Burnett, you have the A9, only 30-minute record time. Suggestion for an A7S3 or GoPro, or wait for the A7 IV. John, do you do mostly video or more photography than video? Let me know that. Matthew Henry, does star tracking, focus stacking, dynamic time lapses, auto panoramas? Ooh, that's really cool. Oh, that's awesome. Permafrost the Army made you? Dang it. Yeah, we need to hook up. I almost drove up to Castner Glacier the other day. I was really tempted to. I really want to get up there and see that area, Black Rapids, Castner Glacier, and just kind of go around up in there. So, let's see, Matthew, any thoughts on the rumored RX 107? Yeah, it might be a good camera. My problem is like they're getting so close to pricing out their APS-C line, and APS-C is better performance like this, the A6400. It's great image quality, pretty good low light performance, better than an RX 100 for sure. And so you get to that point, I'm like, I'd rather just go to that. Get an APS-C body and interchangeable lenses because it gives you so much more flexibility. Let's see. Have you done or will I do a video talking about the best lenses for the A7S III? Calzy, I am. Actually, I'm working on it. I don't know. It probably won't be this. It might be this coming week. It depends on how long it takes me to film this Nano 2 or this Shark Slider Nano review. If I don't get the Nano review done in time for this beginning of next week, then it'll be what are my favorite lenses. Best lenses that's arguable depending on your use case scenario. But what I think are some of the best lenses for Sony A7 III, A7S III, and so on. But yes, I am going to be doing that. 808, you're saving up right now for an A7 to upgrade from your A6400. Nice. So 808, if you save up enough, like wait to see what the A7 IV brings, because I think that's going to be a fantastic camera for most people. Carlos, what do I think about the A7 II, how it performs in low light photography? It performs well. It performs very similar to the A7 III, which is, it's a good low light camera. It's not as good as the A7S III, but it's not a massive difference. Like it's not gigantic. It's not like 50% better or anything like that. So, Zach Morrison, what would I recommend for a good all-around camera for a beginner? If you have $1,000, Zach, then I would shoot for the A6400 with kit lens, 16 to 50 kit lens. That's a great place to start, and that you should be able to find that for about $1,000. And that's a really good, because you get, you know, the ability to like test and push all the camera settings and really figure stuff like that out. And it's great image quality, actually. So yeah, the comments only. Thanks, Alaska Filmmaker and VFX. Good to see you. I hope I didn't miss any of your questions. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Alexander, do I shoot 24p even for online stuff? Most people will watch on a 60 FPS screen, which is not a multiple of 24. I do, because I like it. I have thought about switching to 30, but I mean, I won't film at 60. There's no reason for that. But yeah, I've thought about switching to 30, but I really like the way 24 FPS looks. I just really, really enjoy that. So let's see. Arturo, any advice on camera matching your Sony footage with drone footage? Been waiting on a tutorial for this. Oh, Arturo. Where's my notebook? I don't know where my notebook is. I'm going to make a note of that, because that sounds like a great topic for a Friday 5. What drone do you have? And what camera do you have, Arturo? There. Note made. Pop Casey. Hey, thanks, Sloan Ranger. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out a way to incorporate that somehow into my videos. I don't know how. Yeah, anyway. So, Arturo, I think the best advice I could give you is shoot with flat or log D-Cine-like profile on your drone, if Mavic Air 2. Yeah, so you can shoot the D-Cine-like. And then there's, I think it's a free LUT from Ground Control that you can get, and that does a pretty good job right out of the box, and then you just can kind of push and play with saturation. But I will do a video about that, because it's a great question. John Burnett, when you start more videos, some photography. Oh. I wouldn't get a GoPro, John. I'm had more problems with GoPro, and the GoPro 9 is just not a great camera. It's touchscreen issues and other stuff like that. So I would wait for the A7 IV. I think you'd be happy with the A7 IV. So if you can wait another few months, I would wait for it then. Tia and Rocky Raccoon. Hi. You're in a bind. Uh-oh. Caught in a tough spot. That sounds bad. You've been shooting on an A7 III using a Sony 200-600. Nice. Great lens. Upgrading to the A7R III or A7R4. If you can upgrade to the A7R4, do that. It has a much better autofocus system than the R3. Yeah, that's what I would do, personally. I'd jump to the A7R4 for sure, if you can. And it looked like I saw they were having a sale on the A7R4 recently, I thought. Maybe? So, yeah, that's where I would jump, if you can. If you can't wait a few more months to see, because Sony just registered like 5 cameras, so odds are in the next like 3 months or so, they're going to release the A7 IV. I think that's going to be a fantastic camera. Should end up in like 30 megapixel range, really good autofocus, the newer color science, which is great for video stuff, and yeah. Zach Morrison, excellent. You'll see if you can find one before heading to AK. Cool. Yeah, if you can do that, then do that. If you can't, then get a Sony ZV-1. Great little camera for a pocket camera. Kelsey, you love my positivity? Thank you. I appreciate that. Paul Feinberg, plus I'm a civilized guy that shoots at 24 FPS. That's right, Paul. I am a civilized guy, and I shoot in 24 FPS. I've been trying to figure out a way to put that on a t-shirt, because I think that'd be a great, funny t-shirt. Kevin, nice to see you. Hopefully your time in Aruba was good. All right, Avi, nice talking. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Fashionably late. Yeah, definitely fashionably late. Permafrost. Best iPhone setting for video to use on YouTube and other social media. You know, get things quick. If you have a later model iPhone, then the 4K on iPhones looks great. Like, and it just gives you, I mean, everything gets crunched way down. But if you start with higher quality, like 4K, 30, 60, 24, whatever you're going to shoot in, by the time it gets crunched down to like Instagram levels or YouTube levels or whatever, it does look better. It just looks better. So if you can do that, if you have a later model iPhone, I would do that. Honestly, the late model iPhones, like you can film and edit 4K footage on them faster than you can film and edit 4K footage and on a bigger, more powerful PC or Mac. They're ridiculous at how fast they can handle that footage. Carlos, any basic video editor I recommend for PC with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 1.4 gig? Ooh, that's going to be tough. Hit Film Express, maybe? Or, yeah, Hit Film Express. Or the free version of DaVinci Resolve. That's where I would go. Best tips on shooting real estate with a GoPro. Jude. That's going to be tough. But you definitely want to... you want to use something to get rid of the bowing, the distortion effect of a GoPro lens, or shoot in linear. But you want it wider if you can. Lock your ISO or lock your white balance for whatever it is inside if you're just shooting, and then turn all the lights on that you can. Always have all the lights on when you shoot real estate because it looks better. So. Awesome, Aled. Glad to hear it. I agree, Carlos. The A7 IV is going to be a beast. Matthew Henry. Yeah, I think the A7 IV is going to come out here in the next few months. Miranda, hi. I hear we might be able to see you soon. That'd be nice. Shooting this with the R4. I'm shooting this with the the A7S3 is what I'm using right now with the Sony GM 24mm lens, the 1.4 GM lens, which is so good. Price range of the R4 is going to be, Alpha 1 had overheating issues with 8K. I think anything is going to have overheating issues with 8K at this point. I don't see how you can get away with it right now, anyway. 808, I think the A7 IV is going to run like 2,000 to 2,400 is my guess, is where it's going to end up, somewhere in there. Lon, thank you, I guess. Kevin, I dropped it this morning, so it's live on my channel. And it's long and boring, but if you want to know all of the settings, like if you want to know all the settings that I use, all the custom button setups, and like how I've set my standard picture profile, which is what you're seeing now and what you see in most of my videos, like all of that is all there. Plus, I put a link to be able to download the camera settings file. You put on an SD card, you go into your camera and you load the settings, and it'll just bloop, pop everything up. Pretty much, I think, everything the way I have my camera set. So you're welcome. But yeah, and if you really like me, watch the entire video from beginning to end without skipping or quitting, so that YouTube algorithm thinks more people like it. 60 or 30 permafrost? I would do 30. Personally, that's what I would do. Most social media stuff is done at 30, so I wouldn't do 60 unless you're gonna do some slow motion kind of stuff. Carlos, you're going to Alaska soon this year. Where's the best place to go? You're trying to get by mountains and such. Also getting the Mavic 2 Pro. Fantastic, Carlos. So be careful where you fly. Use an app like AirMap or something like that to know where you can fly and where you can't fly. And then always keep an eye and an ear open for small planes. We have lots of small aircraft that fly very low, and they will pop out of nowhere. So be very aware of small planes. So, and the reason I say get AirMap or something like that is we have a lot of national parks up here, and it is illegal to fly or to take off and land in a national park. So, and they will come after you. The national park is very protective of that rule. So But there are mountains a lot of places everywhere. South Central is good, like where I live in the Anchorage, Wasilla, Matsu Valley, Anchorage areas. Like there are lots of mountains around here. If you go up a little bit further north, there is Denali National Park, the Alaska Range. Most of that is a national park, so you can't fly there, but it is spectacular to go see anyway. Even it's incredible. It's the largest mountain in North America at 20,320 feet. And yeah, it's impressive to see. So those are great places to go and see drone flying. You know, there's a lot of places you can fly, but do be careful. Especially, like, you know, definitely don't fly where you're not supposed to, like where it's illegal and stuff. But really watch out for small airplanes. I can't stress that enough. We have so many small aircraft flying around here, and they fly low, and they will come around a corner and they'll be right there. So yeah. Good night, Ellen. Have a great night. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. Cheers. Watch it all, promise. Settings file. A gift. Thank you. You're welcome, Kevin. Oh, man. Jude, is your caps button stuck, or are you just very excited or yelling? Anyway, what do you think of the best DSLR camera for real estate is? $500 budget? $500 budget, I would look for the, like, Canon, what is it? M50, or, well, not the M50, I mean a Canon, like, TI, or T7, TI7, TI6, something like that. Those are great cameras. I would jump in that. You can get one of those plus the kit lenses for around $500, and you're set and ready to go. AirMap wants to start charging for drone takeoffs? What? Like to file flight plans and stuff? Oh, that's a bummer. I hope they don't do that. Permafrost, you prefer AirMap too? I like AirMap. AirMap is great. It seems to be kept up to date. It's super easy to file with Lance to get approvals to fly places that you need approvals to fly. I've enjoyed it. So yes, let's do it, Miranda. When you come, bring your camera. Let's do some shooting. That sounds like fun. So Kevin Landier, you're buying either a DSLR or mirrorless camera. You're planning a trip to take pictures of the Northern Lights. What camera do you recommend? Is it better to look for higher megapixels? Actually, Kevin, if you want to do Northern Lights stuff, you want to go lower megapixels. So if you haven't bought anything, then the Sony A7III is great. The A7C would be pretty good too. Yeah, and then some Tamron lenses are fantastic. They're inexpensive-ish for full frame. If you already have like lenses for Nikon, then I would get the Nikon Z6 II. That's a great camera. But I would stay within like the 20, 24 megapixel range, or less even, if you can, because that gets better low light performance. But Sony generally has fantastic low light performance. It's just as you get higher in megapixels, the anti-aliasing filter and other stuff starts to make stars disappear. So if that's what you want to do, then I'd look at the A7 III, one of those cameras. So exactly, Lon, you're right. Lens and sensor size is more important than megapixels. So yeah, you want a lens like a 1.8, 1.4 if you could, but 2.8 works too. But you definitely want a full frame sensor for doing low light stuff, astrophotography, aurora stuff. You want a full frame sensor. Exactly, Zach. There are so many small planes flying around. Yeah. So, YYC drone. Am I looking forward to Sony's new drone? I really want to try it out and really want to test it out. So I signed up for their beta program or whatever, but I don't know if I'll get it. Yeah. Jude, your caps lock was on. I'm glad. I thought maybe you were mad at me for some reason. So, yeah. Preston switched to Kitty Hawk for that reason. Oh, dang. Thanks, Nick. Permafrost Beards, definitely let me know. I'm going to look into that too, because that would be a bummer if they did. Hey, Potato Soup. Tamron all the way. That's right. The Tamron lenses are great. So if you don't know why I like Tamron lenses so much, other than their like price performance value ratio is great. Tamron Tamron and Sony work together. That's why Tamron lenses work so well on Sony cameras, is because they know how to program, set up their lenses to work with the Sony autofocus algorithm. So they operate just like a native lens from Sony. And if you didn't know that Tamron, depending on where the lens comes from for Sony, Tamron is one of the manufacturers of Sony lenses. So, yeah. Let's see, A7S3 versus the A7III. Price is not an issue. Want both pics and good videos. A7III. A7S3. I mean, Schmander. A7S3. The photos are great. The video's fantastic. Yeah, that's what I would do. Weirdo Makers recommend previous owned DJI Mavic Air 2 Fly More 550. That's a great deal. Yeah, I would jump on that. That's a really good deal. If it hasn't been crashed, like wrecked hardcore, then that's a good deal. Kevin from Argentina. Greetings, man. Paul, if I didn't have the 70 to 180 or the 28 to 200, would I pick the 28 to 200 if I already had the 17 to 28, 20 to 75? I would. Yeah, I love the 20 to 200 is a great versatile lens. And so the only thing I wouldn't like, it's really, really low light stuff. Like you did lots of wedding reception type things. But other than that, it's a great lens. You're welcome, weirdo. Mark H, did my FPV drone fly well with the red Komodo? It flew really well, Mark. It was just a little scary because they wanted me to fly around and through through a lot of obstacles with it at high speed with most of the lights off. So it was interesting, but it flew really well. Actually, it flew fantastic. Way better than I thought it would. Lon, can we vote for me? I don't think so. They just had a website, you go and you sign up for it. And I was like, oh, I'll go and sign up. We'll see what happens. Because I would love to, go try it out up here. I even think there was a place to put a note. And I put a note. I was like, I will carry your drone backpacking out for miles and miles and miles to take it to some of these places I can go and test it out. A7S3 is so crisp. It really is, Kelsey. It really is. Although I had comments today that my photos from it on my A7S3 photography video, they were like, yeah, your photos are muddy and mushy and not crisp and what else do they say? Not sharp. And I was like, okay. All right. I don't know what to say. They look pretty good to me and everybody else has seen them and likes them. So, but it has to do with what your end use is with it and stuff. So yeah. Carlos Rodriguez, you're doing a film out here in Alaska. Want to know if there are caves anywhere or do you just have to find them? Carlos, do you mean ice caves? If you mean ice caves, the best place you could go right now to see ice caves, if you're in the south central region, like Anchorage, Matsu Valley area, is go out to Matanuska Glacier. Any of the other ice caves that I frequent right now are much too high of an avalanche risk for me to tell you to go out there. And a lot of them are already buried by avalanches, so you can't even get them if you tried. But the Matanuska Glacier is a good place to go. They do have some ice caves. I don't know how much, or what sort of access you could get to them. But there are some great places out there. It's a great place to go visit anyway if you want to get up and close and personal with a glacier. And it's safe. So, yeah. If you're not down in South Central, like if you're up north by Fairbanks and stuff, then look up Castner, Castner Glacier. That has a pretty nice ice cave in it, too. Pram, the A1 30 FPS, any good? It's very good. Very, very, very good. Cardigan Bay Fishing Adventures. Like my videos. One of the ones that inspired me to get a Mavic Air 2 for your fishing boat in the UK. Awesome. Fantastic. Glad to hear that. Hey, Fish Warrior. Don't spam the chat. Ask your question, and I will answer it. Thanks, Jude. Sometimes it's a challenge because you all ask questions, which is good. That's the whole point of this live stream. But sometimes it's hard for me to keep up, especially because I generally give a long-winded answer. Maybe I just need to be more concise with my answer. Like, I'll just look at the chat and be like, yes, no, yes, maybe, possibly. That's not bad. That'd be better. That kind of stuff. I don't feel like that would be as fun or as nice to interact with you all in. So, let's see. Do I have any still photo tips for drone photography? Michael. I mean, I do. I'm also building a whole entire drone course right now. It'll be a paid course, but I teach you like from beginning to end of like how to set up your camera settings, how to set up your drone settings, how to do photography, videography, even somewhat like how to fly drones, not like, crazy in depth on how to fly drones, but how to like use them to create motion and movement in shots and stuff like that. But the main thing with drone photography is like find the angles you can't find with anything else. So like the straight down angles are always very interesting. And you can put a drone as a camera in places you can't put a regular camera and a person. So, hey, Chris Hope. Yeah. Let's see. Wish it wasn't illegal to record yourself going through trails in national parks with a drone. You have the Skydio 2, you follow it through the trails. Yeah, John, I know. I agree. I wish at least that there was a way to get a permit to do that. If you can prove you're going to do it safely and not try and annoy the heck out of everybody around you or harass wildlife. I just wish I should say that I wish there was an easier way to get a permit to fly in a national park. Yeah. So. Mark H., how was air travel to the lower 48? Any major restrictions? Not a lot, other than you wear a mask the whole entire time. So it's not as much fun as it used to be. They don't serve food on airplanes anymore. It's just kind of, whatever. So, all right, Paul, have a good one. Oh, it's only 5 minutes more of the stream. Good Lord, time goes by quickly. Matt PG, you agree you'd love to fly in national and state parks, live 45 minutes from the battlefield at Gettysburg? Oh, Matt, that would be spectacular. Yeah, that would be great. Cardigan Bay Fishing Adventure. Any advice for flying the drone from a boat? Settings I would recommend maybe using Polar Pro filters for the glare. That's good. Settings, make sure the return to home is not set to takeoff point, but it's set to wherever you are, the controller is. There's an option in the settings to do that. You want to make sure it's going to return to you in the boat, not go back to wherever it took off from and land in the water. So make sure of that. And then Cardigan, get used to or practice hand launching and hand catching a bunch, mostly the hand catching thing. That is really useful in a boat. So, yeah. Best cheap travel tripod. Oh, cheap. There's some Manfrotto ones that are pretty cheap, like around $100 US. I don't know what they call them. I've got two of them here. None of them are here because my kids are using them. But they're fairly inexpensive. They're like $70, I think, and they're decent. They're cheap. But they're not terrible. Best way to get around Alaska, Uber or rent a car? Carlos, I would rent a car because everywhere in Alaska is a long way. You're going to drive for a while to go anywhere. I mean, every time, like I went out today to go shoot some stuff, I drove 200 something miles. Like that's the way it is. Alaska's huge, and so if you really want to get out and see it, you're going to drive a lot of miles. So I would rent a car. Do I use Photoshop for my thumbnails, Calzy? I edit my photos in Lightroom, and then if I'm going to add text, I use what is it called? Snapseed. I use Snapseed for editing, like adding text and stuff like that. I haven't done a lot with Photoshop. I don't know why. I need to probably, but I just haven't. So, bye Alaska Snow Days. See you later. Cheers. Also bought a butterfly net on the boat just in case. Oh, that's a good idea, Lon, to have a net with you just in case you need to just nab it. That's a brilliant idea. Like a big fishing net. Excellent idea. Let's see. I have not Macaro Films. I have not, and they actually moved it. They airlifted the entire bus out of there, and it's now somewhere else because too many people were going out there and getting stuck and having problems getting back. So they moved the bus because they were tired of having to go rescue people from out there, and I don't blame them. Like, yeah, so. Yeah, Cardigan, if you can't find that option, maybe the Mavic Air 2 doesn't have it. But the hover in place would be good, and then you'll have to just and give yourself space. Like, don't fly right up until it says, "Hey, you got to land now." Like, give yourself a little extra time, so that you can, get back if you need to. Michael S. I don't think so. There are not enough people that use drones at night for that type of stuff to really make it worthwhile for them to develop that. But yeah. Preston, I should try Canva. I do use Canva from time to time. Yeah, I used it a lot for a while. So thanks, Permafrost. I'm glad you were here, man. And thanks for having me on your show the other night. That was a blast. Cheers. Stay warm. You landed next to the bus? I bet you did. Matt at PG Lightroom and Photoshop. Yeah, same for me. I use Final Cut. And I even use Luminar for some stuff. I've been trying to use Luminar more for stuff. It's pretty good. Let's see, Macaro Films. How do you get more than 60? You just have to keep putting content out there that people want to see. Kevin the Basic Filmmaker. Hand takeoff. Really? Yes, really. I prefer to hand launch and hand catch my drones all the time. I show you how to do it with the Mini on the Mini review video, but basically it's actually pretty easy. You can either have the drone hover and then bring it down to your hand, or you have the drone hover and then you bring it down, and as it comes down, you go and you grab right up here, right underneath these two, the two front motor arms right there. Because if you grab there, there's no way the back props can hit you, and it's safe. But it's easier to do because on a boat, if you're going up and down and the drone is hovering in place, you're going up and down, up and down. So it's really hard to get the drone to land because every time it comes down and the boat comes up, it goes up again. And so you have this back and forth. So hand catching on a boat is the preferable way to do it. But yeah, I do hand takeoff too. Same thing, hold it here and do the whole takeoff thing in the app just like you normally would, and then let it come off your hand. So I do it because it's snow, dirt, mud, all those reasons, or water if I'm in my kayak. Let's see. Air 2 is still the option of lost signal, return home and land. At least that's what I found. Oh, maybe they changed it. I thought that was in there. Bummer. Ever June lose power so fast it literally falls out of the sky. Mavic Air was like that. Thankfully only 10 feet up when it happened. Man, Mark, I have not. I know it can happen, especially in cold weather. So I always keep a very close eye on my voltage, my battery temperature and voltage when I'm flying in cold weather. You do too long. Yeah. Once you kind of figure out how to do it safely, then it's fine. But you do need to be careful of the blades, and you don't want to slice yourself up. That's true, Matthew Henry. Oh, let's see. Hey, Southwest Wisconsin Trains. Nice to have you here. Landing on a boat, fully insured, including water damage. Brought those floaty skids in case it goes for a swim. That's a good idea, Cardigan. Yeah, I've done work on boats like way out from shore, and so the boat is going up and down by like 4 or 5 feet every time. Hand catching and hand launching in that situation is challenging. Even like, it's basically, I was like, hover the drone, waiting for the boat to go up, and as soon as it went high enough, I just grab the drone and flip it over because it auto shuts off if you do that. That was the only way I could get it back on the boat. I was like, I took off, and then I was like, oh crap, I gotta catch this thing when I come back. It was interesting, but it worked out. I still have that drone. Coming, Kevin. It's coming. I promise. It is coming. And you're on the list. Oh, let's see, Matt. Anybody that having a Spark? Not sure about any other drone. Yeah. You're making me nervous, Cardigan. Practice in calm water, Cardigan. Oh. Some Mavic Air battery issue, not holding charge good enough. Yeah, I think with older DJI drones, that was an issue. There was the battery technology was not as good. Yeah, I like Lon. I like your idea of a big net too, just in case you just swoop, grab it, and bring it home. It might be the only flight you get, but you know, at least you keep your drone out a few props, maybe. But yeah. Southeast Wisconsin trains. Do I have any tips for beginner photography? Start with this. I'm assuming you have a smartphone. Man, look at the fingerprints on that. Wow, that is a dirty phone. Start with your phone and just take lots of photos. Go out and take tons of photos. Look at how you're framing things up. Take photos from low angles, high angles. Like, just take lots of photos and play with the settings. And that's the best way to do it. And then look at other people's photos and compare yours. Try and, like, you know, see a photo you like and then go try it out and see if you can create one similar. Yeah. Kevin, upside down drone stops. Yeah, I don't recommend doing that, but if you have to grab the drone and get it shut off in a hurry and you're using both your hands, then grab it and flip it quickly, very quickly, because otherwise the drone will rev up and try and take off. So, yeah. It's an emergency thing. There you go, Cardigan. You're welcome, Southeast. I'm trying to put together a 30 days to better photos cheat sheet thing, PDF sort of thing that I'm going to give away. And I've been working on the drone course, so I haven't had a chance to do it yet. But yeah, that will hopefully be coming up sometime. It basically gives you like an assignment a day of things to go do. So. Any gimbal suggestions? My two favorite gimbals right now for most of the cameras I own are the Zhiyun Weeble S and the DJI RSC2. Southeast, what lights do I use? Like this light right here is an SL60W with an Aperture Light Dome 2. Over here, I have a Falcon Eyes LED matte light, so it's super flexible lighting there. And then, yeah, behind me is just a bunch of like RGB LEDs that I've got going on to make everything look pretty. Matthew Henry, not speaking from experience. It does stop and land your drone quickly, doesn't it? EOSR, a little bit Baltic Boy. I've shot just briefly. Not a bad camera. Not the best that I would say, but it's definitely a good camera. It's, yeah, definitely not a bad camera. The thing is, like, most cameras are very capable nowadays. It's more about you and how you use it. It's always been that way. You know, you can put somebody on a Stradivarius violin. If they don't know how to play a violin, it's not going to matter. Like, it's going to sound bad. If you don't know what a Stradivarius violin is, they're like the pinnacle of the best violins out there. But if you put somebody who really knows how to play a violin on a cheap violin, it's going to sound decent. It won't sound like a Stradivarius, but it will sound good because they know what they're doing. So, all right, Kevin, it's good to see you, man. Chat soon. Any tube lights? Not yet, Southeast. I do want to add some tube lights. I like tube lights, and I want to use some for some client stuff, so I need to get some, but I don't have any yet. Yeah. Family portrait photography, like 35 millimeter or 50 millimeter, depending on how much space you have. Those are the two I would go for. Probably the 50 first, and then if you have enough space to like back up enough, but otherwise 35 millimeter, 40 millimeter, something in there would be great. So, all right, Southeast Wisconsin Trains, good to see you here. I'm going to wrap up the stream because I'm a few minutes over. But anyway, I don't know what I was going to say exactly, but thank you all for being here. Thanks for being part of the channel and hanging out here tonight. It's good to be back. Live streams will be more regular now that I'm back. Wednesday nights. I'm trying to start up the Friday 5-minute tips, or a tip in 5 minutes again, but I've got to get a couple other things done first, and then I'll be able to get those started up again, because I like doing those. I thought it was fun. So yeah, other than that, I'm going to be doing some like polls and questions on the community tab. So if you get the chance to, when you see those pop up, please answer them, because it will help me kind of craft the content that I'm creating for all of you. And I think that's about it. Other than that, thanks, Mark H. I appreciate the super chat or super sticker. Mic drop. Peace. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah. Oh, Michael, you just asked a question. Do I have trouble getting drone batteries shipped to Alaska? Yes. It is so hard to get anything with the name lithium in it shipped to Alaska. It is a big pain in the neck. So, like, I bought more big LiPo batteries for my big FPV drone. I had them shipped to where I was in Chicago, because it was the easiest way for me to get them without, like, tripling the price of the batteries to get them shipped to Alaska, because they would have to go hazmat, freight, all this stuff. So, anyway. Yeah. Thank you all for being here. It's been great to hang out with you again tonight on the live stream. I missed it for sure. And so, yeah, more videos coming. Hopefully it's not going to be too brutally cold. Be decent. And most of them will be outside. I got a few more that'll be here. I am going to do like a settings video, like settings setup video for this little guy here pretty soon in the next week or two. So that, if you just got one of these, you can see kind of how I set the drone up and the settings I use. So bye, Lon. Good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for being part of the channel and hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate you all. Be safe, be smart, and I will see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.